Every man carries within him a weakness, an invisible dagger pressed against his own throat. Ignore it, and you will be destroyed by it. Master it, and you may wield it as a weapon against others. In this video, I will teach you how to break your weakness before it breaks you. History is littered with those who believed their weakness was insignificant until it devoured them. Kings who trusted too freely, generals who hesitated for a moment, thinkers seduced by comfort. Each brought to ruin not by their enemies, but by their own frailties. Weakness is the hidden traitor. It never sleeps. It whispers in silence, and it strikes when you are blind. If you desire power, influence, and survival in a world governed by predators, you must learn to expose, discipline, and annihilate the parts of yourself that leave you vulnerable. This is not a lesson in kindness, but in conquest of yourself before you dare attempt mastery over others. It is the one adversary you cannot escape, because it lives inside you. It whispers in the dark. It delays your hand when you should strike. It bends your back when you should stand tall. You think your greatest threats are out there. Other people, rival forces, hostile environments. But history proves otherwise. The fall of great men and empires rarely came from external assault. They rotted from within. A weakness ignored. A flaw indulged. A small fracture that widened until it became fatal. Consider the Roman Emperor Commodus. He inherited the vast power of his father Marcus Aurelius. But what lived inside him was not discipline or strength. It was indulgence, vanity, and weakness of character. He turned Rome's throne into a stage for his own theatrics. And in the end, his assassins did not need armies. They simply exploited what was already decaying in him. His empire suffered, not because the enemy was too strong, but because the emperor was too weak. Do you see the truth? It is not your enemies who hold the knife to your throat. It is you. Your weakness sabotages you at the most critical moments. It urges hesitation when action is required. It whispers comfort when sacrifice is demanded. It rationalizes cowardice and dresses it as patience or compassion. And while you sleep in the arms of your illusions, your rivals sharpen their blades. Think carefully. What has destroyed men more effectively, a powerful rival, or their own inability to master themselves? Alexander the Great conquered the known world by his mid-30s. But his lack of restraint, his indulgence in excess, and his inability to govern his own impulses shortened his reign and his life. He subdued nations, yet could not subdue himself. You may not rule empires. You may not command armies. But in your own life, the principle is the same. You are conquered not by what is stronger than you, but by what is weaker inside you. Do you procrastinate? That is weakness. Do you seek approval from others? That is weakness. Do you allow fear to paralyze you when risk must be taken? That too is weakness. And each one of these small concessions compounds until they form your personal ruin. Psychology confirms what history already knew. The unconscious mind, when unchecked, works against you. Your fears, doubts, and cravings sabotage your conscious goals. Cognitive dissonance makes you lie to yourself. Confirmation bias blinds you to reality. And every one of these flaws can be exploited by those who are colder, sharper, and less restrained. This is why I tell you, the enemy is not in the crowd. The enemy is in your reflection. Consider the battlefield of modern life. Employers, rivals, competitors, even those close to you, they scan for weakness. They study how easily you are manipulated. Do you crumble when challenged? Do you reveal insecurity when pressured? If so, you are finished before you begin. Look at history again. Julius Caesar knew the Senate feared him, but he also knew they envied him. He concealed his true ambitions until the moment was ripe. Had he exposed his weakness, impatience, pride, or hesitation, his enemies would have struck sooner. But he mastered his internal frailties long enough to seize power. It was only later, when arrogance took root, that the daggers found his flesh. So I ask you, where are you betraying yourself? Not in public, but in private. Where are you feeding the very thing that will one day devour you? Do you call it rest, when it is actually laziness? Do you call it kindness, when it is actually fear of confrontation? Do you call it waiting for the right time, when it is simply cowardice? Weakness is not destroyed by pretending it doesn't exist. It is destroyed only when dragged into the light, examined, and cut out with the precision of a surgeon. Discipline is the scalpel. Ruthlessness toward yourself is the hand that wields it. Yes, it will hurt. Yes, it will feel like you are killing a part of yourself. But that is because you are. The part of you that hesitates. The part of you that craves approval. The part of you that seeks comfort in a world that respects only power. You must choose, will you betray yourself, or will you betray your weakness? Only one can survive. And remember, if you do not strike it down, someone else will discover it, and they will not hesitate to use it against you. The enemy within is already preparing to destroy you. The question is, will you kill it first? Because weakness does not forgive. It waits, it watches, and it will crush you unless you crush it. Now, let us move to the next battlefield. Perception. For even if you manage your inner enemy, if others perceive weakness in you, your destruction is assured. Power is not only what you are, it is what others believe you to be. Your enemies do not measure your strength directly. They measure the image you project. And if that image reveals weakness, you are already conquered. Think of a lion. Its roar travels for miles, striking fear into the hearts of creatures that will never even see its teeth. The lion's true strength matters less than the perception it creates. And so it is with you. Why do you think rulers wear crowns of gold and sit on thrones of marble? It is not for comfort. It is theater. It is a calculated illusion, designed to convince the world that they are more than human. Without that illusion, their power would wither quickly. History shows this lesson with brutal clarity. Consider Louis XIV of France, the Sun King. He understood that perception could keep men in submission more effectively than armies. He surrounded himself with grandeur, ritual, and symbols of divine authority. Courtiers bent the knee, not because he wielded a sword against them, but because they believed he was untouchable. The illusion of majesty preserved his throne far longer than steel ever could. And yet, the opposite is equally true. Expose your weakness, even for a moment, and the wolves descend. Richard II of England lost his crown not because he was powerless, but because he projected helplessness. His enemies saw uncertainty in his posture, weakness in his decisions, fragility in his demeanor. The moment perception turned against him, his reign was finished. Do you understand? It is not enough to be strong, you must appear strong. It is not enough to conquer weakness within, you must conceal every sign of it from the eyes of others. Ask yourself this: what do people see when they look at you? Do they sense authority, or do they sense hesitation? Do they view you as disciplined, or as someone easily bent by pressure? Perception, not reality, dictates how they treat you. Psychology confirms this ancient truth. First impressions are formed within seconds. Once created, they harden like stone, nearly impossible to reverse. If you project strength early, people treat you as powerful. If you reveal weakness, you will forever be fighting to climb out of that grave. Look at the world of business. A leader who speaks with confidence, even when uncertain, is followed. A leader who hesitates, even when correct, is doubted. The content of words matters less than the tone, the presence, the authority that others perceive. Do you want influence? Then cultivate the art of controlled appearances. Speak less, so your silence seems deliberate. Reveal nothing of your private doubts. Show composure when others collapse. Your mask of strength must never slip, even when storms rage within you. But here lies the deeper strategy. Perception is not only about hiding weakness. It is about weaponizing illusion. You can make others overestimate your strength, and in doing so, deter them from striking at all. During the Cold War, both America and the Soviet Union relied not only on weapons, but on the perception of superiority. The game was psychological, convince the other side that to strike would mean annihilation. The perception itself was as valuable as the arsenal behind it. You must play the same game in your own life. If people believe you are capable of things you are not, you gain power without lifting a hand. If they believe you are unshakable, they will hesitate before testing you. Fear and respect are born not only from truth, but from appearances carefully crafted. But beware, this is a double-edged sword. If your mask cracks, if others glimpse fragility beneath the surface, the illusion collapses, and you will fall harder than if you had never built it at all. A great fortress is only as strong as its weakest stone. Once that stone is exposed, the entire wall becomes a target. So I ask you, what mask do you wear? Does it inspire obedience, respect, even fear? Or does it betray you with subtle signs of insecurity, hesitation, or need? Every gesture, every tone of voice, every careless word becomes a signal that others read. Understand this: people do not treat you as you are. They treat you as you appear. Master that illusion, and you gain an invisible empire. Fail to master it, and you invite chains. The wise learn to live behind the mask, wearing it so long that it becomes indistinguishable from the face. And in time, the illusion of power hardens into real power. But even if you master perception, another threat remains. Because power is not only about how others see you. It is about whether you can master the very emotions that betray you. And emotions, when uncontrolled, are the most dangerous weakness of all. Emotion is the chain that binds men more tightly than iron. You cannot see it. You cannot touch it. But it enslaves more rulers, more generals, more ordinary men than any army ever has. You believe yourself free. You believe you act with reason. But how often are your choices dictated not by logic, but by fear, anger, desire, or pride? Understand this: emotion is the leash by which others guide you. And until you master it, you will remain their servant. Look to history. Consider Mark Antony, the powerful Roman general. His military strength was formidable. His political connections were vast. Yet his emotions betrayed him. His passion for Cleopatra clouded his judgment, weakened his alliances, and exposed him to manipulation. Octavian, colder and more disciplined, used Antony's emotions as a weapon against him. The man who could command armies could not command himself, and so he was destroyed. Do you see the pattern? Your enemies need not defeat you directly. They only need to provoke your emotions, and you will destroy yourself. Think of anger. How many times have men thrown away advantage because they could not restrain rage? How many wars, feuds, and rivalries began not from necessity, but from bruised pride? Anger blinds you. It convinces you that reaction is strength, when in truth it is surrender. The one who provokes your anger owns you. Now think of fear. Fear freezes your hand when action is required. It whispers, wait. Delay. Protect yourself. But in waiting, opportunities vanish. In delaying, rivals grow stronger. Fear is the most loyal servant of your enemies, because it stops you before they must even lift a hand. And desire, perhaps the most treacherous of all. Desire promises pleasure, but it delivers chains. The promise of wealth, of status, of love, of recognition, it blinds the mind to danger. How many have sold their integrity, their position, even their freedom, for the illusion of reward? Desire makes men predictable, and predictability makes them easy prey. Psychology confirms this ancient wisdom. Neuroscience shows us that emotional states hijack the brain, overpowering rational thought. Cognitive biases, anchoring, loss aversion, emotional contagion, all prove how easily human behavior bends under feeling. And those who understand this do not need to control the world. They need only control your emotions. Look around you. Marketers manipulate desire. Politicians manipulate fear. Manipulators in your own life exploit guilt, pity, or anger. Every button pressed in you is a lever of control. If you respond automatically, you are no more free than a puppet dancing on strings. The solution is not to deny emotion. That is impossible. The solution is to master it, to hold it as a weapon in your own hand rather than let it be used against you. Imagine two men. One is furious, shouting, trembling. The other is silent, calm, eyes steady. Who has power in that room? Not the one who rages, but the one who observes. Composure itself is a weapon because it denies your enemy the satisfaction of your chains. This is why the disciplined rise above the masses. The masses are ruled by impulse. They vote with fear. They spend with desire. They fight with anger. But the disciplined man, who observes without being consumed, rules those who cannot control themselves. Think of chess. The impatient player lunges at opportunities, driven by emotion. The master waits, restrains, and sees 10 moves ahead. This is life. The one who restrains emotion dictates the game to those who cannot. So I ask you, what emotion enslaves you? Is it anger that erupts too quickly? Is it fear that silences you when courage is required? Is it the endless craving for approval, status, or pleasure? Until you name it, confront it, and learn to master it, you will remain chained. Discipline is the key that unlocks those chains. Reflection, cold analysis, deliberate restraint. These are the tools of freedom. And once you master them, you gain something most men will never taste, the ability to choose without being steered, to act without being provoked, to see clearly while others are blinded. But remember, when you break your chains, you also gain the ability to bind others with theirs. If you can stay calm while others rage, they will reveal their weakness. If you can stand fearless while others tremble, they will hand you victory. If you can withhold desire while others chase illusions, they will trade away their advantage for nothing. To master emotion is not simply to protect yourself. It is to control the battlefield of human interaction. And once you control that battlefield, you no longer fight with swords or words. You fight with silence, composure, and patience. Weapons invisible, but far sharper than steel. But even if you conquer emotion, another danger lurks. One far more seductive and far more subtle. It is the quiet voice of comfort, whispering that the battle is over, that you have earned your rest. And that, my friend, is the illusion that has destroyed the greatest of men. Comfort is a sweet poison. It promises peace, but delivers decay. It whispers, "Rest now, you have done enough," while secretly eroding your strength. It is the most seductive weakness of all, because it does not strike suddenly. It corrodes silently, like rust eating through steel. Ask yourself, when have you grown the most? Was it in comfort, or was it in struggle? Was it in ease, or was it in hardship? History answers for you. The Spartans, hardened by discipline and deprivation, built warriors feared across the ancient world. They thrived not because life was gentle, but because it was merciless. Comfort was banished from their society, and so they became nearly unbreakable. Contrast this with Rome. In its early years, Rome was fierce, disciplined, relentless. But as conquest brought luxury, as marble palaces replaced wooden huts, as feasts replaced rations, the empire softened. Generals once raised in mud and blood now lounged in silk. And when the barbarians came, Rome could not endure. It was not the enemy that destroyed Rome. It was the softness within. Do you see the pattern? Hardship breeds strength. Comfort breeds weakness. You tell yourself you want peace, stability, and leisure. But what you are really asking for is decline. Because comfort convinces you that the battle is over, when in truth it has only changed form. Psychology confirms this with cruel precision. The hedonic treadmill shows us that comfort never satisfies. You adapt to pleasure, and soon require more to feel the same. Like a drug, comfort dulls your senses while demanding higher doses. And in this dullness, your edge is lost. Think of your own life. The nights you stayed awake, pushing through exhaustion, sharpened you. The moments you faced rejection or risk carved resilience into your bones. But the days you chose comfort, lying idle, chasing easy pleasures, what did they give you? Only guilt, weakness, and regret. The manipulators of this world know this well. Politicians promise comfort to keep citizens docile. Corporations sell comfort disguised as convenience. Machines that make you move less. Devices that think for you, entertainment that numbs your mind. Each one a velvet chain, easy to accept, impossible to break once it tightens. And so men are enslaved not by force, but by their own desire for ease. Consider modern warfare. Nations with abundant comfort grow decadent, distracted, divided. Nations with hardship grow disciplined, hungry, united. Which do you think history favors in the long run? Comfort is the great illusion. It convinces you that survival is security, when survival is only the beginning. It tells you to preserve what you have, when in truth, what you do not strengthen daily begins to rot. This is why so many rulers fall after reaching the height of power. They mistake stability for permanence. They believe yesterday's victories guarantee tomorrow's security. And while they rest in the arms of luxury, rivals sharpen knives in the shadows. The same principle applies to you. Every time you surrender to comfort, you leave a door unlocked for your weakness to enter. Every time you choose ease over discipline, you lower your defenses. And when the test comes, whether in career, in relationships, or in crisis, you will be unprepared. So I ask you, what comforts are destroying you? Is it the endless scrolling that consumes your time? The food that numbs your body instead of strengthening it? The excuses you tell yourself, disguised as self-care, but in truth nothing more than avoidance? Do not be deceived. Real self-care is discipline. Real strength is forged in discomfort. Every moment of hardship endured adds to your arsenal. Every moment of comfort indulged subtracts from it. The wise learn to seek discomfort deliberately. They train the body in hardship, so the spirit becomes unbreakable. They place themselves in challenges, so that when real adversity comes, it feels familiar. They strip away excess, knowing that luxury is the enemy of resilience. Comfort is not harmless. It is betrayal. It lulls you into thinking you are safe while it quietly prepares your ruin. And when the enemy comes, whether external or within, you will not even resist. You will simply collapse. So I ask again, will you choose the fleeting sweetness of comfort or the lasting power of discipline? Because only one can make you strong. The other will bury you. But beware, weakness you tolerate today does not remain idle. Others are watching. Others are waiting. And if you do not crush your comforts, they will discover them and use them against you. The next battlefield is not comfort. It is exploitation, and once others weaponize your weakness, you are no longer merely vulnerable. You are theirs. Weakness is never private. You may think you can conceal it, live with it, even ignore it. But weakness is like blood in the water. Once it seeps out, predators will find you. Understand this, others are watching. Always. Your colleagues, your rivals, even those you call friends, they study you. They look for hesitation, insecurity, indulgence. Not because they wish you well, but because human nature delights in leverage. And weakness, once discovered, is leverage. History is filled with rulers destroyed not by open war, but by the silent exploitation of their flaws. Think of King Edward II of England. He was not without resources, yet his dependence on favorites revealed his lack of judgment. His barons saw it. They used it. His inability to govern his desires invited betrayal, imprisonment, and finally, execution. His enemies did not need to overpower him. They only needed to expose his weakness. Do you see the lesson? Your weakness is not simply a personal burden. It is a weapon in the hands of others. Look at modern politics. Scandals do not arise from strength. They arise from hidden weaknesses brought into the light. An uncontrolled appetite, a hidden affair, a careless word. These are not mere mistakes. They are chains waiting for rivals to pull. And once pulled, the strongest position collapses overnight. Ask yourself what in your life could be used against you. What secret habit? What dependency? What insecurity? What part of you, if revealed or manipulated, could undo everything you have built? Psychology calls this the dark triad of exploitation. Narcissists, Machiavellians, psychopaths. Such people do not strike directly, they observe. They test you with small provocations. They see if you crumble when pressured, if you reveal too much when flattered, if you can be swayed with promises of comfort. And once they know where your weakness lies, they own you. Consider business. Negotiators search for signs of desperation. If you reveal that you need the deal more than they do, you have already lost. They will squeeze you, delay you, exploit your urgency. Your weakness of need becomes their weapon of power. Or consider personal relationships. The manipulative partner does not always shout or threaten. They learn your emotional triggers. Your fear of abandonment, your desire for approval, your longing for recognition. And with a word, with a silence, with a well-timed withdrawal of affection, they control you completely. They do not need chains. They need only your weakness. This is why self-knowledge is not luxury. It is survival. If you do not know your weakness, others will discover it before you. And unlike you, they will not treat it gently. Think again of Caesar. His brilliance made him feared, but it was not a foreign army that destroyed him. It was envy and suspicion, exploited by men who knew his ambition. They used what they saw in him, his rising dominance, as a weapon to justify his murder. Even greatness, if unguarded, becomes weakness in the wrong light. So I ask you, are you feeding your enemies? Every time you show insecurity, you encourage predators. Every time you reveal desperation, you grant leverage. Every time you expose indulgence, you hand them a chain to bind you. You must learn the art of concealment. Your weaknesses must be examined in private, not displayed in public. Your doubts must be crushed in silence, not whispered to those who may one day betray you. The wise man does not declare his fragility. He disguises it until it is reforged into strength. But concealment alone is not enough. You must also learn to observe others as they observe you. Study their words, their reactions, their inconsistencies. Seek the fractures in their armor. For while they exploit your weakness, you must be prepared to exploit theirs. This is the true game of power, not brute force, but the silent exchange of leverage. The weak are ruled. The strong rule not only by hiding their own flaws, but by discovering the flaws of others and pressing them like daggers into flesh. The cruelest truth is this: your weakness is not always exploited by enemies. Sometimes it is exploited by those closest to you, those who smile while they quietly pull your strings. And because you love them, you will not resist. This is how weakness destroys the strongest, through betrayal that feels like affection. So ask yourself again who knows your weakness, and more importantly, what are they doing with it? Because if you have not already seen it, you will. At the moment you are most vulnerable, the mask will drop, and you will realize they have been holding the chain all along. And That is why weakness cannot merely be hidden. It must be crushed. Because once others discover it, the game is no longer yours to play. But there is a weapon sharp enough to sever these chains. A weapon forged in fire and sharpened through pain. It is called discipline, and without it, all your strategies will crumble. Weakness cannot be negotiated with. It cannot be reasoned with. It must be cut down, ruthlessly, decisively, without mercy. And the only weapon sharp enough for such a task is discipline. Discipline is not glamorous. It does not dazzle like charisma. It does not intoxicate like desire. But it is the foundation upon which power is built. Without it, you are a slave. To your appetites, your distractions, your excuses. Think of discipline as a sword cold. Unyielding. Unforgiving. It slices away weakness piece by piece until what remains is sharpened, hardened, dangerous. History proves this truth. Consider Alexander's armies. They did not conquer vast empires through numbers alone. It was discipline, the relentless training, the strict order, the refusal to yield, that made them unstoppable. When lesser armies collapsed in chaos, Alexander's phalanx held. And that discipline carved empires out of the earth. Or look to Napoleon. His brilliance lay not only in strategy, but in the discipline he imposed upon his men. Forced marches, brutal conditions, endless drills. These forged soldiers who could endure when others broke. Without discipline, his genius would have been wasted on chaos. With it, Europe trembled. Now turn the mirror on yourself. What empire could you build if you mastered discipline? What strength lies dormant in you, waiting for the blade to carve it free? And more importantly, what weakness continues to thrive because you lack the courage to wield that sword? Think of your daily life. How many times have you surrendered to distraction? How often have you postponed what you know must be done? How many hours, days, years have you wasted feeding weakness instead of cutting it down? Each act of indulgence is a dull blade. Each act of discipline is a sharpened strike. Psychology reveals this too. Self-control is the strongest predictor of success. Not intelligence, not talent, not opportunity. Studies show that those who master delayed gratification, who can resist temptation, rise higher and endure longer than those enslaved by impulse. In every field, discipline separates the rulers from the ruled. But discipline is not merely personal. It is also a weapon you can use against others. When you show control in situations where others lose it, you dominate them. When you remain consistent while others waver, you gain trust, authority, and power. Discipline, when displayed, becomes both shield and sword. It protects you from attack and strikes fear into those who lack it. Think of negotiation. If you can wait longer, endure silence longer, resist pressure longer, you will break the other side. Not because you are smarter, but because you are more disciplined. Your patience becomes a blade pressed against their throat. Consider relationships. The one who controls their desires commands the one enslaved by them. The disciplined partner cannot be manipulated with affection, withdrawal, or temptation. But the undisciplined one, desperate for approval, craving validation, becomes predictable, pliable, exploitable. Discipline is the dividing line between predator and prey, and you must choose which you will be. Ask yourself, where in your life have you surrendered your sword? Do you eat what weakens you? Do you speak when silence would be stronger? Do you waste hours on pleasures that give nothing in return? Each of these is a place where discipline has abandoned you, and where discipline leaves, weakness reigns. The harsh truth is this: discipline feels like pain in the moment, but it is freedom in the long run. Indulgence feels like freedom in the moment, but it is slavery in the long run. One path sharpens you, the other buries you. You may believe you can face life unarmed, without the sword of discipline. But life is merciless. It cuts down the soft, the indulgent, the fragile. And if you are unprepared, it will cut you down too. So sharpen your blade daily. Strike your weakness with small, relentless acts. Wake when you do not want to. Work when you wish to rest. Resist when you crave indulgence. Each act of discipline is a cut against weakness, and over time, the enemy within bleeds out. But remember, discipline is not only destruction. It is also transformation. The sword that cuts weakness can also shape strength, carving you into something greater than you imagined. And yet, even the sharpest sword is useless if left idle. It must be directed, aimed, used with strategy. For the question remains, once you crush weakness, what will you turn it into? The next battlefield is not only to kill weakness, but to reforge it. To take what once enslaved you, and turn it into the very source of your power. Killing weakness is not enough. If you only destroy, you remain hollow. Power does not rise from ashes alone. It rises from ashes shaped into something new. This is the art of transformation, not merely crushing your flaws, but converting them into weapons. Turning liabilities into assets. Shaping vulnerability into strength. History offers countless lessons. Take Julius Caesar. He was once mocked for his vanity, for his extravagance, for surrounding himself with luxuries that others scorned as feminine weakness. But Caesar transformed this indulgence into strategy. His elegance became a political tool. His appearance charmed allies, softened enemies, and masked his ruthlessness. What many called weakness, he refined into armor. Or look at Frederick the Great. As a young man, he was sensitive, musical, even timid. His father despised him for it. But Frederick did not bury these traits. He transformed them. His discipline in music became discipline in command. His sensitivity turned into a keen perception of human motives, which allowed him to manipulate alliances and crush stronger foes. The weakness did not vanish. It evolved. Now ask yourself, what do you despise most about yourself? Your impatience. Your insecurity? Your hunger for approval. These are not curses. They are raw materials. They can be reforged. Consider impatience. It destroys the average man, making him reckless and careless. But in the hands of a strategist, impatience becomes a sense of urgency, a refusal to tolerate stagnation. It can drive action where others hesitate. Consider insecurity. It cripples those who seek constant reassurance. But it can also become vigilance, a hyper-awareness of detail, a relentless drive to improve. The same insecurity that chains the weak can sharpen the strong. Even desire for approval can be weaponized. It makes many into servants, desperate for validation. But if you master it, you learn how others crave recognition too. And once you understand this hunger, you can feed it or starve it, controlling others as easily as a puppeteer pulls strings. Transformation requires vision. You must learn to see the dual nature of every trait. Nothing in you is purely weakness. It only becomes weakness when unmanaged. When refined, redirected, repurposed, it becomes strength. Psychology confirms this. Traits are not fixed curses. They exist on spectrums, shifting under context. The impulsive child who is punished for restlessness often grows into the adult who thrives in fast-paced, high-stakes environments. The anxious thinker who fears uncertainty becomes the strategist who foresees dangers others overlook. Weakness is rarely weakness in every domain. It is often misplaced strength. But few ever see this. Most people waste their lives in self-pity, mourning their flaws. They beg for escape instead of mastery. They seek to amputate rather than to reforge. And so, their greatest potential remains buried in what they hate most. Think of your own past, moments where what you once saw as flaw secretly served you. Perhaps your suspicion protected you from betrayal. Perhaps your ambition, once called arrogance, drove you further than others dared. Perhaps your loneliness forced you inward, where strength of mind was built. Do you see the pattern? Your weakness is never final. It is clay waiting to be molded by your hand. Yet transformation demands brutality. It is not gentle. You must face your flaw directly, strip it bare, and ask, how can this serve me instead of destroy me? Then you must wield it. Not with shame, but with strategy. When others mock your traits, they reveal their blindness. They see only one side of the coin. You must see both. And when you flip that coin, when you transform what they ridicule into power, they will not understand how you did it. They will be left vulnerable, trapped in their own unrefined weaknesses. Power belongs not to the flawless, but to the ruthless alchemists who can transmute flaws into weapons. The man who hides his fears remains a coward. The man who embraces his fears, studies them, and uses them to anticipate danger becomes untouchable. The first drowns in weakness. The second sails on it. So I ask you, what flaw will you transform? Which of your shadows will you sharpen into a blade? And will you dare to use it, even when others recoil in confusion at your mastery? Because transformation is not the final stage. Once you have reshaped your weakness into power, there remains one more step: projection. How you display your new strength, how you reveal or conceal your transformation, will decide whether you dominate or remain unseen. And that, my friend, is where the next battlefield begins. It is not enough to be strong. It is not enough to conquer weakness. If no one sees your power, it may as well not exist. Power must be projected. It must be displayed, calculated, and broadcast like a weapon drawn from its sheath. Because in this world, perception often outweighs reality. Men bow not to the truth of your strength, but to the image of it. Think of the Roman emperors. Many were fragile, even cowardly behind their palace walls. But in public, they appeared divine. They staged triumphs, parades, spectacles of victory. They knew the masses needed not the truth, but the illusion. And illusion, when carefully maintained, becomes indistinguishable from reality. Or consider Louis XIV, the Sun King. His reign lasted longer than most lives. Was he invincible? No, but he projected invincibility. His palace at Versailles was not just a home. It was a theater of power. Every room, every ceremony, every gesture reminded nobles that they revolved around him, as planets around the sun. The projection was so overwhelming that even his enemies doubted their own strength against him. Now look at your own life. You may have conquered weakness within. You may have forged discipline and transformation. But if you hide it, if you appear ordinary, no one will treat you as extraordinary. And in the realm of power, treatment is reality. Respect is given not to the hidden blade, but to the blade they believe can cut them. Ask yourself, what image of yourself do you project to others? Do they see confidence or hesitation, strength or doubt? Do they sense discipline or indulgence? Whether you realize it or not, every word you speak, every movement you make, every silence you hold, projects something. If you do not control it, others will define it for you. Psychology confirms this brutal truth. Perception shapes judgment more than fact. Studies show that people often decide trustworthiness, competence, and authority within seconds of seeing someone. It is not the substance of your power that moves them. It is the signal, the posture, the tone, the aura. The weak project weakness, the strong project inevitability. Projection is not arrogance. It is strategy. It is knowing which parts of your power to reveal and which to conceal. The general does not show his entire army at once. He shows just enough to terrify, to paralyze. Likewise, you must choose carefully. Show too much, and you invite envy, resistance. Show too little, and you vanish into irrelevance. Consider the art of silence. When others speak endlessly to prove their worth, the disciplined one who speaks little projects mystery. Mystery breeds respect, even fear. Your silence projects control, while their noise exposes desperation. Consider also the art of composure. When insulted, the weak react with rage, revealing insecurity. The strong smile faintly or remain still. That restraint projects dominance far more than shouting ever could. It tells the world, I am beyond your reach. But projection is not only defensive. It is offensive. It allows you to shape how others respond before they even test you. A leader who projects inevitability wins loyalty before the first battle. A negotiator who projects patience forces the other side into concessions. A lover who projects scarcity becomes the one desired, not the one desperate. Projection is theater, and you must become both actor and director. The stage is the world. The audience is everyone around you. And the script, you must write it yourself. So, what is your stage? Do you walk into a room as though you own it? Do you carry yourself as though you are replaceable, or as though you are rare? Do you dress, speak, move in a way that confirms your strength, or betrays it? Every gesture is a performance. Every moment an audition for respect or dismissal. But here lies the final secret: projection is not about lying. It is about amplification. You cannot project what does not exist. But once you build strength, you must make it visible. You must cast light on it, magnify it, let others feel its weight. For power unseen is power wasted. The world will not grant you respect freely. You must demand it, without words, without begging, through the force of your presence. The disciplined mind, the transformed weakness, the sharpened sword of will. All of it must be shown, carefully, strategically, until others believe in your inevitability. And once they believe, half the battle is already won. But here is the danger. Projection can enslave you as easily as it empowers you. For when you live by image, you must guard it endlessly. And if you slip, if the mask cracks, the world will turn on you with the fury of wolves who smell blood. So the question becomes, can you master not only the art of projecting power, but also the art of sustaining it without collapse? That is the final trial of true dominance. Power is never taken by force alone. It is taken by control, subtle, invisible, relentless. The most dangerous chains are not made of iron. They are made of influence, of perception, of unseen persuasion. To control others without their knowledge is the highest art. It makes you appear harmless while you guide their steps. It makes them believe your will is their choice. And once they believe that, resistance dies before it begins. Ask yourself, would you rather fight openly, bleeding for every gain? Or move silently, bending minds while they smile at you? The wise choose silence, influence, mastery of the unseen. If these truths strike you, if you see the value in this dark clarity, then act. Leave a comment. Reveal how you would bend weakness into power. Subscribe so you never walk blind in a world ruled by hidden hands. And share this with those who think they cannot be controlled, so they learn too late that the strings are already tied.